All right, today's question. Why does God tell us to remember when we're so quick to forget? We're in Joshua chapter 4, and Israel's just crossed the Jordan on dry ground. And God commands Joshua to choose 12 men, one from each tribe, and have them take 12 stones from the riverbed where the priests were standing with the ark. These stones were to be set up as a memorial. Why? Because God knows our hearts. We're forgetful people. Israel had just seen the waters of the Jordan stop, but give it a few weeks and some of them would already start doubting again. That's why God says, when your children ask you in time to come, what do these stones mean to you? Then you shall tell them, these stones were sermons in rock form, reminders that the mighty hand of God had delivered his people. And here's something that most people missed. There were actually two memorials. Joshua also set up 12 stones right in the middle of the Jordan where the priest had stood. One pile was in the riverbed, hidden once the waters returned, and one was out in the open at Gilgal. That means God gave them a visible reminder and an invisible one. Isn't that like our faith? We live by what we see God has done, and we also trust in what he has done that our eyes can't see. But don't miss the gospel connection. The memorial wasn't just about the Jordan River. Verse 24 says it plainly, so that all the peoples of the earth may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty, and that you may fear the Lord your God forever. These stones weren't only for Israel. They were for all the nations. God was already showing that his plan of salvation was bigger than one people group. And if we zoom forward, we see the true memorial stones in the gospel. 1 Peter 2 calls Jesus the living stone, rejected by men but chosen by God. And then it says we as believers are being built up as living stones in him. In other words, the pile of rocks at Gilgal pointed forward to something far greater, the living church built on Christ, the cornerstone. So what does Joshua 4 teach us today? That God's people must stop and remember his works, not rush past them. That parents must tell their children the stories of God's mighty acts, and that ultimately our faith is built on the greater stone, Jesus himself, who holds together the whole house of God. So why does God tell us to remember? Because forgetfulness leads to faithlessness, and remembering his works fuels obedience, worship, and hope. So keep reading your Bible and don't be dumb.